Hello everybody, getting ready to package up this gorgeous HW30 American Classic Custom Gun Stock. A couple of notes for Gary. The rear sight hardware is here, including the guide pin and a little baggie. I'm going to put the trigger guard on there to protect the trigger during shipping, even though I've never had a break, but I did recently receive a gun that was poorly packaged with a plastic trigger, and it was not protected by the trigger guard, and the plastic trigger broke, and it's unfortunate because it's a really rare gun. Even though it doesn't have a lot of value, it's basically irreplaceable. I told you that the front action hole ended up being slightly off center. I re-glass bedded that because I had to open it up a little bit to get the screw in, so I re-glass bedded it, so that's a perfect fit, and its screw is in its hole, and I made a custom length screw to fit that. And then the front trigger guard screw, the other main action screw, they're kind of soft metal, and they tend to, am I in the camera? They tend to get a little beat up. This one was already a little beat up. I probably added a little more of it, even though I use proper gunsmithing screwdriver bits. They get a little tweaked. So I cleaned it up with a small file, cleaned up the slot with a small file, held it upside down on 500 grit wet dry sandpaper on a steel block, and sanded it flat. And then, of course, that took the bluing off, so I re-blued it with some new blue. And it's interesting how some metals have a real hard time taking blue, and other metals just suck it up like instantly. And that was the case here. It was one little dab of bluing, and it immediately turned dark and looked factory original. So that's a nice little improvement on that piece. So the stock's been through several little fixings. I clunked it with my ring once, bumped it against the workbench once. It's like, oh dang, there's another spot, steam it out. A couple wipes of oil. Nothing is very difficult to repair with a hand rubbed oil finish, but I want to send it out perfect, and it is pretty much in a perfect condition at this point. It's waxed, looks gorgeous. Please, Mr. Client, beat it up. It's a tool to use, and I just want to send it out the best I can to give it a start on its life. So now I'm going to wrap both of these things individually in paper towel, then I'm going to wrap them both individually in bubble wrap, and then I'm going to tape the two bundles together, and the strength of the action will protect the wood from getting broken in shipping. And we're going to then wrap the two bundles with more bubble wrap as necessary to get about 3 inches total between the outside of the package and the product. And I'm not going to make you watch me do this for an hour, but I will turn the camera back on every now and then when I have something interesting to show. So you will see me in just a little bit. Okay, so here we are with the bubble wrapped. I wrapped the action in several layers of bubble, and I wrapped the stock in several layers of bubble. I taped those two bundles together, and then I cut some narrower strips of bubble and taped them end to end to make them long enough to wrap around there and make 2 additional bands to give it a little more distance from the edge of the cardboard once it's packaged up. Bubble's pretty expensive, so I could have even ripped them smaller strips and just suspend the bundled package in the middle of the box is kind of, the concept, give it a little bit more clearance. So now I'm going to line up the edge of the bundle with the edge of the sheet of cardboard. I'm going to use a Sharpie and look straight down here and mark about here where the edge of the bundle is. And then I could use a straight edge and draw a line, but usually I just kind of wing it and get in between the lines here, the corrugations, and just lightly score the inside of the cardboard with a knife so that it will fold right there. And then I'll fold it over with the bundle, mark, score, fold it, mark, score, just like that. So just do a couple here. Fold that up. Actually, I missed. Fold it on a corrugation. There we go. Sometimes I've given up on trying to make it be square and just roll it. I think that's fine too. But I'm going to go ahead and try to make a square bundle out of this. A few times anyway. Until it just turns into a roll. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. Might be stronger. Alright, we got a good fold that time. Ouch. Yep, we're turning it into a box. So now that we've got this far, I just swirl on the edge of the cardboard and keep folding and just use up the sheet of cardboard. I probably will leave enough. No, so if it had turned into a round thing, I have to leave enough extra cardboard to cut circles, just trace circles to cap the ends. But since it looks like I'm actually getting a rectangle, I'll be able to create the ends with the extra material that we got. Oops. I shouldn't say that, I'm on camera. You don't want to hear your dentist say that. I had a friend who was a dentist once, and he said when he was in school, he taught himself to say, there. So if your dentist ever says, there, know something just went wrong. Always admired the work of a dentist. It would have been my kind of work. Kind of artistry. Get to use cool tools. I don't know about the causing people pain part though. This is not really all that cheap. I think these sheets of cardboard are about $10, $10 or $12. And I probably used half a roll of that bubble wrap, and I think that was like $25 or $27 for a roll. So, probably about $20 or more in packaging. But, never had one to get damaged. Alright, got ourselves a nice little package going on here. So now, back up to the table. I need to watch a YouTube video on how to use these tape dispensers. Seems like I'm always fighting. I will be using about a roll of tape to do this. Oops, sorry, it'll make you dizzy. Seasick. Alright, before I do the massive amounts of tape, I practically cover the whole thing in tape. Tape is the cheapest part of the operation. Next, I'm going to fold the flap buttons over, and I'm going to probably have enough. So when I rolled those two bundles together, I mean, not together, when I made the two bundles, the action and the stock, I left the bubble a little bit long on the ends, and I squished it, you know, off the end of the stock and off the end of the action. I kind of squished it and wrapped tape over it, so it's got a big squishy, poofy end on it. If I hadn't got several or 4 inches of extra bubble by doing that, then I would add some extra bubble in the ends, but I actually got a really significant amount of poofiness. Oh yeah, it feels really good. So I'm not going to add any more bubble to this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the how much fold I need and go in that far and slice the corners. So I should probably get a smaller measuring tool, but it's at about there. Maybe I just use the knife. It's yeah, just about the length of this knife. Right about there. And it's easier to cut these on the inside of the corner than trying to follow along on the outside. I just make a mark on the outside, and I got, can you see? I got the knife sticking through. You see? Yep, you can see. I can barely see the viewfinder outdoors. And then just slice this like that. And here. And so I'm not really poking all the way through like I can find that. It's just a little visual indicator, and just guess and get close. And that worked. There we go. That's a lot of cardboard. Oh, there we go. Alright, and one more here. Yep, there we go. Alrighty. And now, if you can see what I'm doing, I can't see what I'm doing. I can only see motion. I'm like a turkey. I can only see it motion in the viewfinder. I got turkey on the mind. It's turkey season. Went out again yesterday morning. Talked a hen into the, not quite to the decoys. She got nervous. Of course, can't kill hens in the spring hunt. But it was fun and exciting. This client gave me a beautiful Osage Orange, I think is the name of the wood, custom turkey box call, and it's got a really rich resonant sound. It really carries, much more so than my buddy's commercial plastic box. Alright, so this is just a lot of extra cardboard. If you find that it's just too much and you can't make it work, you can cut off a layer or two, but I just like to fold it over and smash it as good as I can. Folds over good. Yep, that looks good. Like I said, if it's just too much cardboard, you can cut a layer or two off. It's flat. I don't think we need 6 total layers of cardboard for the end of the box. But if I can get away with it, I'll leave it on there. Alright, now we're going to use lots more tape. This just makes sure it stays together while I'm working on it. So now, sometimes this is just down and set. Whoop, you can't see what I'm seeing. Sometimes, by the time we get to this point, I got this shoved all the way in there, that maybe this space is just too big. So then I just chop it off shorter. But I think we're pretty close to fitting. Yep. I'm just touching the end of the bubble wrap and looking at the end of my knife, and it's the same as the other side. How nice is that? So let me just back you up a little bit. Alright, so here we go again, same routine. Bada bing. Two Zoom meetings tonight. Chamber of Commerce board meeting. That starts at 6, and then my Mason Club. I've been calling it a Zoom hangout session. We would normally be at the lodge every Wednesday night practicing. Once a month is our big, stated meeting, we call it, our business meeting. But the other nights we get together just to practice. Yeah, but since COVID, since we can't do that, I've just been holding a Zoom hangout. But now we got word last night. Looks like we're going to be able to go back to getting together in person soon, which is both a blessing and a bummer. A bummer because I am about an hour and a half away now since I moved, and $30 in gas. But a blessing because there's guys waiting to get their degrees. Uh-oh, that's actually my masonry making holes in the cardboard there. Alright. Now I'm just going to stand this up on end and beat on this a little bit just to try to get a little bit of a fold in the cardboard. Alrighty. And yes, I did get the little baggie in there. Sometimes I get this far and it's like, oh, darn, left the screws out. Yep, I got everything in here, just thinking. We did replace the factory spring. I didn't send that back with the guy like at the car parts store. I think you're supposed to get your old parts. Nobody has any use for a factory Vyrouse spring, so no loss there. Yep, we're good to go. I'm boss of my Mason Club again this year. Third time total, 2 years in a row because of COVID. We decided, well, some of the guys weren't really ready to advance. I'm just trimming off this excess cardboard that's hanging over the edge so that I get, well, I don't know if you saw that. After folding these flaps over, some of this was a little bit long, so I just trimmed it flush with the sides of the box. So when I tape this up, it'll be a neat package. Yep, definitely need to watch a YouTube video on how to use a tape dispenser. There must be industry tricks. I've been doing this in 2 different businesses my whole adult life, and I still struggle with it. I just was thinking today, I bet the pros have some tricks. And boy, there's kids next door today. Alright, well, I think you get the picture. From this point on, lots of tape. I'm going to turn you off so you don't have to listen to the screaming kids, and I'll check back in with you. No, you know what? This is basically done, guys. This is going out in the mail tomorrow, and we're moving on to another project in just the next couple of days. So I will check in with you in a little bit, and I would ask you to check in with me too, please. And to help do that, if you click on that bell icon, you'll get a notification when I publish. And if you could hit the thumbs up for me, that is a huge help for the channel. And if you could also, that's the liking part, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so. That helps me out and doesn't cost you anything. And if you'd comment down below or share my channel with other people in your chat forums, that'd be fantastic. Thanks very much. I love you guys, all my fellow air gunners and wood lovers, and I'll be back here in another day or two with some new work. Okay, bye everybody.